All right, everybody, welcome back. Those Nick, you're asking why I'm perfect. Those are just our sponsor ads. So we want to give our sponsors a little bit of showtime here at the event, just to show that we are gracious for them sponsoring the event, making sure that their products are getting pushed out there. That's why we're playing ads for them. But with no further ado, we got Fernando Falci here. So handsome. Yes, you're right, Zipkin, he is. And he's going to be talking about Sinpapeles. He's definitely an OG in the community, very helpful, very active.
Yeah.
But with no further ado, I'll let you take it away unless you got something, Mike.
Just appreciate. Yeah, we appreciate Fernando. I think you came from the airdrop, right? I think we always somewhat joke like there's this airdrop we've been trying to promote, but he's one that came, right? You claimed your airdrop, and that's how you heard about Handshake. I heard, right?
That's right. That's right. I first came here with the lore from the airdrop, and it kept me.
Cool, great, it worked. Welcome.
Right.
Thank you again. All right, yes, let's. I'm really excited. I think we're all excited for your session. Thank you.
Sure thing. Hello, everyone. Just to start off, Fernando. I will share my story with Handshake, how I got here, and what I have done to help the community. Okay. As many of you here probably have done it in the past, I start bidding my own name, right? I opened the auction for Falci, I bid the auction for Falci, and guess what? I got sniped. Okay, someone overbid me in the last block, and I lost Falci. That was not a great start, to be honest. And I say, well, why would someone else be interested in my surname, right? And I said, well, it's probably someone wants to sell it and then make some profit, and which is fine. They know the game better than I, so that's fine. So I just need to find the owner and contact them and get an agreement. Handshake is made in a privacy focused way, so it's really hard if the owner doesn't want you to know who is the owner. So, right, and how can I find who wants the auction, right? The first thing I tried was, well, let's try to access the website. Let's see if there. And nope, there was no content available for the domain. I tried to look on chain. Maybe there are some information, something. Keep in mind that this thing was like 1.5 years ago, almost 2 years ago, and there was not really a consensus about where to sell domains. There was no such thing as a marketplace, right? And there was no information on chain. And I think maybe there is no information because the owner doesn't know what to do, right? The person that won the auction doesn't know what's the proper way to advertise the name. And I say, maybe you could have a parking page, okay? A parking page is just simple auto-generated page with the domain name you want to sell, and just say, hey, I'm selling. If you want to contact me, here's my email or I don't know, Twitter, whatever means you prefer. And we can even put some fancy stuff here just to make it look nice. The only thing the owner really needs to do if they want to park the domain is, well, they just need to point the domain they want to park to parking.sinpapeles. And also, of course, I need to know the email or a link or some means to contact the person, right? It's important to note here that I don't need to control the name, right? Sinpapeles was built all away around the idea that it's your domain, you control it. Sinpapeles is just a service that you can use, okay? And with this in mind, that was the first time the Sinpapeles appeared. That was a second domain that I lost the Falci, but I got the Sinpapeles, so I started parking Sinpapeles. You can access it in parking.sinpapeles, and I guess it's outdated. There's a bit more than that right now. and it's free to use. If you have some domains you want to sell, the person that is looking for buying your domain, the first place they probably is going to look is the domain itself, right? They should try to access the domain and see what's there. And from there, you can point to marketplace, to whatever platform you prefer to use to sell it. Okay. What now? This is not a random question. I'm also part of the Telegram group. Like, you can find me on Telegram in the Handshake group. And I was there, and there was a guy that said, "Hey, I want a domain. I participate in an auction. I want a name. What should I do now?" And it's like, well, it's your domain. You can do whatever you do with a domain. You can host a website. You can redirect. You can do things. And then in that moment, I realized that there was a blur, and it's not clear how people do things on Handshake, because Handshake sounds so hipster sometimes, so cool, so different. And how is hosting? And actually, it's exactly the same it is for legacy. I mean, of course, it's a decentralized network, but it's DNS. It should work the same. There are some content provider that doesn't know how to work with a domain that doesn't have a dot, but it's fair enough. And then I start to think about it and say, well, maybe we could have a tool, a way for people to host content or redirect content that is simple, right? Maybe the person has a legacy domain and just want to redirect it. So we could have something super simple, like just redirect to this domain. Or at the time I was creating this, SIA, it was the first time I heard about SIA Skynet, and it was really popular. And if you don't know, it's decentralized file storage. And if you send your files to SIA, it gives you a link similar to this one. So I say, why not? Just put a link there and let's make it work. If someone tries to access your domain, you get the content from there. Or maybe you don't even know what is SIA. And just click here, select the files, and we send to SIA and to Skynet, sorry, and get the link and start it here for you, right? And I try to make it really simple. Like, I just give you what name you want to host, and I will give you the instruction with all the codes you need to put. There are instructions for Bob Wallet, for name base, and even if you want to do the command line way. It's important to note here in the end that the third step, the DS entry, I need to tell you that this was the most complicated part of Sinpapeles ever. That was really challenging to implement, okay? And I push a lot to have it done. And this thing exists since the beginning of Sinpapeles. And what it does is nothing, okay? When I created this, it was almost useless. At the time, there was no use for this thing. But actually what it does is, because you set up that key, you can use HTTPS for your domains, okay? So if you have a browser or a client that knows how to access HTTPS using the authentication that is completely decentralized, you don't need to the central authority, you don't need all those things, sorry, certificate authority. If you have a browser that knows how to do that, you can access a Handshake domain using HTTPS. At the time this thing was done, there was no easy client. I guess there was Let's Dane, but Let's Dane is not that easy to install and have it running, so it was really complex. But anyway, I pushed for that, and I'm glad that I did, because more than a year later, Impervious appear with gift us with the fingertip, and that thing magically shows your browser ability to connect to Handshake domains using HTTPS. That means now people can install a little piece of software in their computer, and they can access domain securely. And if you had a Handshake domain, it's HTTPS on by default since ever. You don't even know that, but those files you send in the previous step are secured, right? So this end up to being the main app for Sinpapeles, right? the other one is called the parking Sinpapeles, and this one is the Sinpapeles. Time to time, I have an idea and say, well, let's create a new feature. And you see the sidebar here is growing a little bit every time there is something new. You can see here that is it's a little bit slow, small, but there is the payment gateway. Okay, payment gateway. It maybe is not for everyone. It's more for developers kind of users. But basically, I mean, if you have an app or some service that you want to charge your customer using Handshake, you don't need to run a node. You don't need to know about blockchain. You don't need to get involved in that level. You can just use REST APIs. Okay, how it works is like this. If your application, if you have a new customer, if you sell something, you send a request to Sinpapeles, and Sinpapeles will generate a wallet address, okay, and send it back to you. And you say, and you are supposed to charge your customer in that address. So you say, and you ask your address to pay in that address. Sorry, you ask your customer to pay in that address, and Sinpapeles will monitor that address. Okay, once there is a payment, Sinpapeles will ping your application like programmatically, and you can proceed with whatever service you are doing. You can allow your customer to continue. It's something important here is that is non-custodial. What it means is that the address that Sinpapeles generate actually belongs to your wallet. Okay, so there is no withdrawal option because we never got the money. It's just that Sinpapeles generate your address and we just have a look on it. The only thing you are losing here is the privacy somehow because Sinpapeles know that address belongs to you. But that's it. If something major happened, it's someone hacked Sinpapeles, or if Sinpapeles disappear today, you don't lose your payments because it was always your money. It's your wallet. Okay. Actually, all the services in Sinpapeles are basically like this. Like you can always go to Bob Wallet or Namebase and point to somewhere else, and you are not stuck with Sinpapeles. If you use the payment system, you can there is also a auto-generated page for you can send your user here so they can see details about the payment and proceed. This is another feature that I created some time ago. Actually, it's been for a while now, and I like this one because it started as a discussion in the Telegram, and then we moved to GitHub, and there was a bunch of comments in the community. And this is formally it's known as HIP number 2, right? HIP 2 is the wallet address. How it works is like if your wallet implements this protocol, it means you can transfer money to a domain. So you can send money to Sinpapeles or to I am Fernando or to anyone that implement that. If you want to share your address, you just go to Sinpapeles and you put your domain and you say, this is my address. That is, it's another thing that Sinpapeles offer, but there is no, it's waiting for the other side, right? The same way for the HTTPS. We offer HTTPS while there was no client for that, and we offer these options so you can broadcast your address, but there is no one asking for it. But I can tell you that Bob Wallet is really, really close to have it merged, and Bob Wallet will be able to transfer money using address, right? You can see the views are real because there is no real usage yet. What next? There are a bunch of projects that I'm planning to work on, so I'm going to have a really busy year. The first of one is Sniper. There was some discussion in the community about what you could do to avoid sniping. There was a bunch of discussion about moving changing how the protocol work, how Handshake work in the core, making the auction differently, but that would require a hard fork. That was a huge discussion. And then I'm thinking doing the opposite way, okay? Instead of preventing and making sniping disappear, I will try the other way around. I will try to make it super easy. What would happen if everyone could go to a UI and say, hey, I want to snipe the name Falci. So you go there and say, I want the name Falci. Of course, if the auction is open, right? I want the name Falci, and in the last moment, I want to bid 100 coins, whatever. So Sinpapeles will schedule the bid, and in the last possible block, we are trying to do that for you. If it works, we transfer the name back to you. If it doesn't work, we transfer the money back to you and things like that. Imagine this scenario. Imagine how it would be if everyone is able to snipe. There is no bid until it's the last time, so all the things appears at the same time. I suppose that can create a more fair market. Another app that I'm planning to work on, it's called Decoy. That is slightly different approach for an auction. That is, if you are interested in a name and you are afraid that people are going to snipe you or try just to overbid you in a regular way, you can go to Sinpapeles, and it's not right, okay? But you can go to Sinpapeles and say, hey, Sinpapeles, go there and bid on the name Falci for me. And then Sinpapeles go there and make a huge bid, but that is every, that is the bid in the blind, right? That is the value in the blind. So Sinpapeles put zero as value and 100% in the blind. So for everyone that is looking to the auction, it looks like a huge bid, but you know that it's fake, that is zero. So you can bid whatever you want, and that may balance the auction again, okay? It's just to see how it works. And the last thing I'm planning to work on, it's a staking platform. Because think about if the decoy works, if people likes to use that, I have a limited supply amount of money that I can put there. I can offer you to use, right? Of course, it probably won't be free. You need to pay something, like you pay a small fee, and then Sinpapeles go there and make a bid for you. So the stake platform is going to be in a way that people can, if you have handshake tokens that are not in use, you can put those tokens on Sinpapeles. That's kind of not, you lose the non-custodial, but you put the tokens there, and then Sinpapeles will use that money to lend to other people that are interested in bidding. So, and they pay the fees, and you can use the fees to, to share with the stakeholders, right? That's it. Sorry for rush then, but that is my next things to do. And thank you for listening to me.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Falci. We have some Q&A. We're going to go a little bit over time to get some of this Q&A. Nick asked, what are the main advantages of Sinpapeles over Namebase and Miami?
Okay. Yeah, there was a huge discussion about decentralization, right? Sinpapeles is not decentralized. Okay, sorry if you thought about that, but if you have a sensitive content or something that you are afraid the government would want to take out, yeah, Sinpapeles is not a place for you. The good about Sinpapeles is you keep the ownership of your domain. Okay, Sinpapeles will never ask you what's your keys. You never need to transfer the domain to Sinpapeles. So the big difference between those players is that at any point you can just transfer to anyone else. If Sinpapeles disappear today, you can just point your domain to another server and keep using something else, right? But you don't lose it. There is no way to lose it. And I don't see, well, the Miami would be like for the parking Sinpapeles. I see it like they are listing, right? The main difference between Miami and parking Sinpapeles is that you can go to parking Sinpapeles and see the name that are available, same as Miami. But if you want, you can use Sinpapeles as a landing page. Like if someone accesses your domain, they will see something, even if you don't have anything. You just want to sell a domain. I don't want to spend my time curating a content. You can just point to Sinpapeles, and that means it's going to, in the top is going to be your domain, but the content is going to be that example I showed, the Falci page. That's the main difference with Miami.
All right, awesome. Thank you. And then here we got Dope is asking, does Sinpapeles implementation of HIP2 support multiple currencies?
Not yet, but it's on purpose. Okay, I didn't do that because, well, there is no client for Handshake yet, so I thought it would be too much for the users to ask them what is your Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever address, because there is no real use yet. But we are ready to update it. Like I can enable this option. The code is prepared to allow you. It's just that it's not on the UI for convenience.
All right, that's awesome. Actually, that's cool to hear. And then our last question from Miguel. It will be Web3 full integration and drop the idea of an email and password to identification options with names with a Bob Wallet text record like HNS chat.
There was a login implementation that if you have a domain on Sinpapeles, you can log in on name-based news, if I'm not mistaken. So name-based was pioneer on the login using handshake names, and Sinpapeles is the implementation. So if your domain is there, you can log in the other system. There was no much movement on that area, so I don't know about that. Most of those things, especially logging, it depends on the community support. So if you have some ideas about how we could do a login in a really secure way, not using MetaMask or something like that, we need to discuss it in the community, create a protocol, and then we can implement both client and server side. I guess that is how we could do a full integration.
All right, awesome. Well, we are coming up at time right now, a perfect cutoff. Any last words that you want to say, or any last things that you want to shill out, or anything like that?
Thank you all for listening to me, and I was a bit nervous about presentation.
That was great. Thanks for making.
Yeah, man, you killed it.
Yeah, it's nice. Well, it's good design. Yeah, I always appreciate your products. Or the UI is always easy to use, and because a lot of times other products in the market are technical, but they're not easy to use. Yours have good user interface in my opinion, that makes it easy for not as technical people like me to still use it. So thanks for that. Okay, all right, Falci, thanks again for your community contributions. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Kinetic is a blockchain crypto investment firm based in Hong Kong and Puerto Rico. Founded in 2016, they were the first fund in Hong Kong and one of the earliest in Asia. With a portfolio of over 220 companies, they were seed investors in such projects as Ethereum, Parity and Polkadot, Solana, FTX, and of course Handshake and Namebase. Founder Johan Chu is an active investor and supporter of the Handshake ecosystem. Over 100,000 domains, co-founder of DWeb Foundation, co-founder of HandyCon, and sponsor of the Handshake House at Miami Hack Week 2022.